Yo, what's up, you guys? Ben on Fire here, back from the video, and today we bring you guys another one of my favorite defenses to run in Madden 21. This one's going to be something new that you guys have not seen out of the most popular formation in the game on defense. I'm going to show you guys a new way to run 3-3-5 wide, and if you actually notice going through the formation, there's one play that might be missing that you probably have recognized. It's going to be a cover 3 cloud. So I'm going to show you guys how you can create a effective cover 3 cloud setup out of course, one of the best plays. We're probably going to be running this Mike Blitz 3, adjusting out of that as our base play. But of course, we're going to be creating a cover 3 cloud concept. You take a look at 3-3-5. It has a cover 3 cloud. Unfortunately, it's not in the 3-3-5 wide. So that is, of course, an issue that I've had with the formation for pretty much this entire year. So we'll show you how to do that. First thing that you're going to do is adjust your zone drops. I like to go flats at 25 yards, curl flats at 5 or 10. Usually I stick around 5 yards. I can also even adjust my hooks. Usually I'll go around 10 yards with those. Depending on the player, I can go up or down on those as well. I'm going to be in the 4-6 defensive playbook for today's video. As per usual, and of course 3-3-5 formation. You can get these safeties at linebackers. Also, before into the video, I do want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 17,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you could consider hitting that subscribe button down below. If you're enjoying the videos, you want to see more, let me know by supporting the channel. So let's just get into it. Of course, set up Mike Blitz 3 in your audibles. You can come out in any play. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the field. Alright guys, here we are out on the field now. Let's get into the adjustments right away now. This is going to be a two-man rush setup. To play pretty good defense in this game, you got to rush 2 people. Of course, in Ultimate Team, you get some really good pass rushers. It's not as big of an issue. You'll see pretty much everybody do it. So we're going to bring you guys another one of those setups with impeccable coverage on the back end. So, of course, you're going to set up your audibles or set up your actual play by pressing that X or square button, D-pad to the left, and then X or square again. I usually go with my favorite play in that top slot for my audibles, just because it's a simpler audible. Your finger's already going to be on that X button, so when you do it, it's just a little bit more clean overall. Now, taking a look at the player, of course, we're in Mike Blitz 3. We're going to be in a just stock cover 3 shell. So you see we're going to have 2 curl flats, or seam flats in this case, our deep zones, and then we're going to have just the 1-3 rec hook. Now, we're going to be making a couple of adjustments. It's going to be a little bit more complicated, not too over the top, though. So the first thing we're going to do is create our cover 3 cloud. Now, usually what you're going to do with the cover 3 cloud, of course, is you're going to put the player in a cloud flat on the opposite side of your slot cornerback. So our slot corner is on the right side, so we're going to put the cloud flat on the left. So you're going to press, you're going to put X in either a hard flat or a cloud flat. Again, it does not really matter. Now, of course, when you put him in the hard flat, you're not going to have that safety elbow over the top. So what you're going to do now is you're going to put Y in a deep half zone to create the true cover 2 shell on the left-hand side. So that's our first steps. The next thing I like to do is put L1 in a hard flat. I can also shade over the top or shade underneath just to do that. But then again, your outside third will be kind of pressing at the line of scrimmage. Not too big of an issue, but if that is something that concerns you, then you can adjust out of that, or you can just put L1 in a hard flat. The last thing that I like to do is spread my defensive line. I'm going to put both those outside linebackers, both X and A or square and X, in curl flat zone. So put X in a curl flat, put A in a curl flat. The last thing you're going to do is put to this A player that's in a 3 receiver hook in a vertical hook. So that's definitely a mouthful. We will be going back in depth, maybe even a little bit slower so that you guys truly understand the adjustments, just because that was pretty fast. I know for a fact some of you guys probably did not understand that thing completely, but of course we will go back and talk about it. So just for starters, we'll set up kind of a basic offensive play, something kind of like this out of Z spot, so you guys can see the full look at it. Of course, you're going to be using this player in the middle of the field. You can see that the coverage is pretty solid, and again, I do like that vert hook at that 10-yard spot. Again, it really does depend on the personal preference. Of course, if he's blocking 6, you're rushing 2, you can't expect, a whole lot of pressure as far as that's concerned. So they did have a lot of time to pass. And again, these pass rushers are not the best. Buffalo does not have the best pass rush in the world. These are mid 70s to 80 overall guys. So don't expect, instant sheds as far as that's concerned. But let's go back through the setup again. You're going to audible, you're going to press. Again, it's going to be around 5 adjustments: X in a hard flat, Y in a deep half. And then you're going to go ahead, spread your D-line, X in a curl flat, A in a curl flat, and then L1 in a hard flat. Of course, I can save one adjustment in doing that by originally, if I have my setup like this, all I have to do is really shade underneath, and then I could just put A in a curl flat, X in a curl flat. That'll save me a little bit of time where I can just go to my traditional setup instead of having to quick adjust another player, which would be our slot cornerback. So that is a way that I like to personally save an adjustment. Of course, your outside third will potentially press, so will your hard flat on that left-hand side, so that's something you want to be careful with. Again, the last thing you do is just put A in a vertical hook. So it's one of the more complicated defenses, but at this point in the year, if you do not have your adjustments down, you might be in a little bit of trouble anyways. So, of course, if you've been playing the game a while, this should not be too difficult for you to get down. Pretty simple as far as that's concerned with, you don't have to man anybody up, do things like that. I can just put people in their zones, 1, 2, 3, 4 zones, I think. It's a total of 5 zones. There's a little bit more adjustments, hard flatting, pressing, things like that, but it's around 5 quick adjustments. Not too bad if you ask me, but we'll set up another Z-spot setup. Just go with something like this, just to give you guys a different look. So we'll drag X, cross A. This is one of my favorite setups in the game to run. So I can kind of lurk over on A, defend X. You see how that vertical hook is in a pretty good spot there. Even at defending a drag, even though he's at 10 yards, he's still in a pretty solid spot at defending that. And that's, of course, always what you love to see from that particular player. So let's maybe audible formations. Let's go to like a bunch tight end here, just to show you guys what I would do if it were a bunch tight end. And typically against bunch tight end, I know I'm on the wrong hash mark. That's fine. You're going to flip it because you want your slot cornerback on that other side. So I'm going to flip my defense. And a couple of things are going to change. Of course, I can still keep the base things the same. I'm going to put B on a hard flat or cloud flat, A in a deep half, spread my D-line, and then again, I can like shade underneath, X in a curl flat, A in a curl flat, and then I can put X in that vertical hook. Now, this would be the base defense. Now, here's where you have a decision about a couple of different things. I can do, and it comes with my vertical hook. Do I want to keep him on the left or the right? In this case, probably I'm going to keep him on the left so that I can user to the majority over here with the right. Just the flow of the offense. Usually it's going to be going from left to right, you see from the trips formation. And this would be the same thing for trips tight end. I'll, of course, probably audible to that as well. But this is probably what I'm going to do because people can go with something like this, A on a post. Maybe they just run something like this. Or even they put RB on like a little out route, they delay fade A, they could run something like this. So that's where the vertical hook on the other side would be able to make a difference over there. So we'll set up something like that. Of course, I'm going to lurk down on B, go to defend the crosser, and then they go to delay fade, and I'm right there. Bad user, but you kind of get the gist there. Crosser is going to be defended, drag's going to be defended, anything on the back end will be taken care of by our vert hook. And of course, we have zones on the other side as well. So overall, you see that this defense is very good. Something else I like is having that cloud flat on the other side. I just feel like cover 3 cloud is a good way to kind of confuse your opponent a little bit. Of course, he's usually might be expecting an outside third from this guy. The fact that it's switched can definitely throw him off. So that is something that I like to do as well. So again, pretty basic defense. Just make sure you have the right adjustments down, and the defense will do the rest of the work for you pretty much as far as that is concerned. So not too overly user dependent because you have extra help in the vertical hooks and things like that. Let's go to like something random, kind of like a verticals play. You'll just see how that wheel route will be taken care of by our vertical hook, or it should be. Of course, it's coming from the D-line spot, so you can get someone athletic at those places like a Montez Sweat to defend it. But I'm going to lurk over on RB, go back to Y. There you see we get a pretty quick shed. A kind of has a little bit of space, but for the most part, that's going to be a difficult pass to make. As long as you have speed in the secondary, that will be, of course, defended pretty well. Let's go to like a trips tight end though. Now, out of this trips tight end, I don't have too many audible. I didn't set my audibles for this, of course, but I'll go with like kind of a basic setup. One that you see a handful. It's going to be this one. This one's a pretty good setup. Of course, I'm going to make sure that I audible, that I'm going to flip my defense so that my slot corner is on the correct side, which you normally wouldn't have to do if you have auto flip on. So that's just something, if they do flip their formation, you might have to do that depending on if you've already adjusted them, but sometimes auto flip will take care of it. But again, set everything up the exact same way. We're going to go ahead, be on the cloud flat, deep half A, shade underneath, X on a curl flat, A on a curl flat, and then X on a vertical hook. So you'll see our hitch might not be defended well, but the curl could be defended well, and you'll see just from the base standpoint, I can kind of work over on A. You see how the curl route's open. The only thing that is open just a little bit there is going to be the out route, and even then, a lot of people don't like to throw that. If I have Acrobat on that guy, he can animate a couple of times. You see, just look out. I want to show you guys how good the vertical hook at 10 yards is and how well it just defends things. So you might even expect it to defend like this, this little curl route. It actually doesn't. So the curl route's open a little bit. That's where I can use it. Of course, this little route combo gets a little bit open just because of how short the corner route is. So if you are going against trips, not too many people run verticals these days, but that could be something you want to pay attention to, because if you have your curl flats too deep, these shorter corner routes can potentially get open. So that's something I want you guys to watch out for. For whatever reason, sometimes these curl flats from the slot cornerback, or in this case, it's a hard flat from the slot cornerback. For whatever reason, sometimes they don't go fully out there. So the out route can get open, but if I notice that happening, maybe I can man them up. There's different things that you can, of course, do to stop it. But let's hop into something even like a bunch trail. One of my favorite bunch trail setups is going to be like this, where they're going to motion B across. You have the trail, you have the drag, you have corner out into deeper post. So we'll set up the defense against this, then I'll get you guys out of here. So again, press, spread D-line, go with your basic adjustments on this side, and then you are pretty much good to go, just like so. So again, biggest thing is you curl flat both those outside linebackers, because you don't want those guys playing super deep. You want them playing shorter because they're probably less athletic, even though they are safeties. So I guess it wouldn't matter too much, but just for reference, just for basic, just for keeping everything the same, that's what I'm going to go with. So here's a look at your adjustments. Again, we'll snap the ball. You'll see how the vertical hook's going to do really good at taking over, defending that angle route initially, and then of course I can recover with my user after I pass off the drag to the vertical hook zone. You see we get that pick. Of course, pass rush will be better in an online setting, but that's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description, and peace. I'm out of here.